Hello everyone, this is Steve. Thanks for joining me. We're going to complete the square again. So, the instructions this time say find the zeros. And we've got f of x equals 4x squared minus 8x plus 7. Okay, so even though this one doesn't just say solve, we can make it so it does. So we're just going to say this is the same as asking us to solve 4x squared minus 8x plus 7 equals 0. And I'll tell you, there's a couple things we have to do before we complete the square. One of them is we have to move that 7 over the other side, but the other thing we have to do is get rid of that 4 in front of the x squared. Now it doesn't really matter what order you do that in, so what you could do is you could subtract the 7 from both sides of the equation and then divide everything by 4 and get x squared minus 2x equals negative 7/4. Or you could divide everything by 4 and then subtract 7/4 from both sides of the equation. So those first two steps are actually interchangeable as long as you get down to this point right here, x squared minus 2x equals negative 7/4. All right, the constant's been moved to the other side, and we have a 1 in front of the x squared. Doesn't matter what order you did it in, as long as you're to this point right here. And now we're going to complete the square. So we take a look at the number in front of the x. It is negative 2, not 2. Cut that in half, negative 1, and square it. 1. That's not very interesting, but nevertheless, we will add 1 to both sides of the equation. Plus 1 plus 1. X squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 1 minus 7/4. Well, I like the looks of that. Let's see if we can do something with that. Well, 1, the number 1, is the same thing as any number over itself, so we can write it as 4 over 4. Why do I pick 4 over 4? Because then I can do 4 over 4 minus 7/4 rather than 1 minus 7/4. And that's going to give me negative 3/4. So we've got x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals negative 3/4. The left-hand side of the equation factors is a perfect square trinomial. That's the whole point of completing the square. So it's going to be x minus 1 squared equals negative 3/4. Now, we're going to take the square root of both sides. Little red flag here. We're about to take the square root of a negative number. So we are going to get imaginary solutions to this problem. Left side simplifies to x minus 1, because the square root and the squared cancel. I do not know the square root of negative 3 off the top of my head. I do know the square root of 4 is 2. And I do know that when I take the square root of a negative number, I can change it to a positive number, just pull an I out. So check this out. Plus or minus, the 4 on the bottom becomes a 2. Square root of 4 is 2. And the top, just going to have a square root of 3 because I'm pulling an I out. That I can either be in the numerator or next to the fraction. It doesn't really matter, but it does need to be outside the radical. Add a 1 to both sides. And we're basically done. We have two solutions. They are complex conjugate pairs, but they are imaginary. So while these are valid zeros for this quadratic, they are not x-intercepts. They do not correspond to x-intercepts on the graph. Okay. Thanks for watching.